seconds and counting.
Hey, what's up, guys? Clutch City Entertainment here. Today, we'll be talking about free agency, as free agency will be starting just very, very soon. It starts on Monday at 4 Eastern Time when teams can officially start talking to each other. Of course, contracts cannot be signed until the Wednesday, but pretty much most of the action will be going on that Monday. So, it's going to be a big time of the year for the Texans as they have lots of needs to fill, multiple positions. And they got this new regime coming in with D'Amico Ryans, a revamped coaching staff, all of that stuff. So it's going to be a big time for them. So I'm going to hand it off to Big E here first with his top free agent target.
Yeah, my first free agent target has to be Bills linebacker Tremaine Edmonds. I feel like this is someone we've been talking about on Texas Twitter since the season started, but it just makes perfect sense for him to just slot in perfectly. We need a linebacker. He's very athletic. He's still 24. I don't really like saying this this sentence a lot, but he does fit the timeline of the rebuild or of what the Texans are doing. He finished with 102 tackles last season, which would probably make him like third on the Texans by itself. So, just an athletic guy, young and a very good tackler. He's like one of the most run stops for the Bills last season too. So it'd be a great addition to this new D'Amico Ryans defense.
Yeah, one thing you said athlete. That's exactly what the Texans do. They need a bunch of athletes, especially on that defense, to fit D'Amico Ryan's swarm mentality. And for my first free agent target, I am looking at Ethan Pochich. He's the Browns center, but he's going to be hitting free agency. He's 6'6", 320 pounds, and he's only 27 years old. He's relatively experienced. This past season, he only had 2 sacks allowed, and he had a 79.0 PFF rating, which was third amongst centers in the NFL. So he's one of the best rated centers in the league, by PFF, which is something of relevance. His expected market value is it was around 7.6, and that's pretty much a maximum value. I could see him maybe just taking a 4 million or 5 million contract, though he did have a very good year. But the center market is always, a little interesting. Sometimes they get big contracts, sometimes they'll take low contracts. But that'll be, something to discuss later on and just kind of see what happens there with the contract. But Pocic is a fantastic run blocker. He excels getting the second level and in the open field. He moves relatively quickly for his size. Like I said, he's got a pretty large frame. And he also has a lot of experience playing in a West Coast / zone running scheme during his time in Cleveland. And that's something that will always come in handy, especially when the Texans are transitioning to a potential West Coast, Shanahan style scheme with Bobby Slovic coming over from San Francisco. And I think that, center is just such a hard position to kind of hit on. The Texans could very well use a draft pick on the center, but Pocic is already experienced as a player and in the system. I think that's something that's just so valuable and someone the Texans should definitely be looking at.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, Pocic is experienced, just like you said. He's still 27, which isn't that old for a center. He has some veteranship too, and his experience could really help the young quarterback that we draft. And this leads me to my second guy, and you might notice the theme here because it's another 24-year-old young guy that fits the timeline. It's the Vikings, Cameron Dantzler. They released him on Friday. He hasn't been the best for them, but he has made some big plays. And if we get him, he'd be our cornerback 2 or cornerback 3, even right behind Steven Nelson, assuming Stingley gets the cornerback 1 now that D'Amico has taken over. And last season he probably had his worst season, had 0 interceptions, but he's still 24. His whole career is still ahead of him, and those Vikings cornerbacks sometimes they show off. They show up when it matters, and he's definitely someone I could see the Texans taking a flyer on.
Yeah, the one thing that just kind of sticks out to me there is his age and his potential. He's got a lot to offer. And obviously the Texans cornerback 2 right now is Steven Nelson. He's getting relatively old, but they're going to need to kind of find that number 2 corner, of the future to pair next to Derek Stingley. That's something that they need to address at some point in time. Might as well just go with it there and Dantzler. And so for my second free agent target, I'm going to go with Seahawks defensive tackle Poona Ford. This past season, he had 3 sacks and 35 tackles. His expected market value is at $9 million. Poona Ford has been a really solid player. over the past year, he just hasn't gotten enough recognition. Obviously only had 3 sacks, but like his role is kind of more defined as a run stopper and as situational guy there in the pass rushing situations. He's quick, he's powerful, gets off and holds blocks really well. And I feel like he could really play either that 1 or 3 tech position in a 4-3 defense, and he also has a lot of pass rushing upside. And this is a relatively important position for the Texans in terms of what they want to do schematically, and the fact that they only have Malik Collins, they have Thomas Booker, but those aren't guys that are gonna really be great. Puna Ford is someone that's got upside to be great in my opinion, and he's relatively underrated and would be a huge pickup for the Texans.
Yeah, I mean, Puna Ford could probably be gone on a better deal too than the other D linemen available in the class because this D lineman class is kind of stacked, and considering we can get Puna Ford for like maybe 9-10 million a year, this could be a very no-brainer signing.
Yeah, I mean, I think today, we talked a lot about defense. Something me and Essam were talking about before is just the fact that offense could really be something more for the draft. So, when you hear us talking about the defensive players, we think that, you need the experience, you need fits, you need to find that on defense right here, right now, because that defense needs improvement. We had one of the worst defenses in the year. And that's something that, that's going to be a big part of what DeMeco Ryans wants to do. Let's have a fast, physical, and really good defense, aggressive defense. And so addressing that free agency really might be the move. That's where you get in the draft. You still have a lot of time to develop that offense. You're gonna have a rookie quarterback. You're gonna have other pieces that you're gonna have to kind of learn the system, learn that West Coast system. It might take a little bit, so there might be some roadblocks along the way. So look for the draft to be more offense based. As where the defense, they're gonna go heavy on that defense, and that's just something to look out for, and something honestly I really like that philosophy that Xer and the Texans could be going for. That's gonna be pretty much it for today's video. Leave your comments down below. Let us know one of the free agents that you would like Texans to target on this free agency, and we'll see y'all next time.